I'm going to move into this Dave Chappelle story because this got a lot of responses from people on Twitter. I want to go ahead and forewarn you before I play the video. If you just go by this video and you run with it, it's easy to assume that this was just about one thing, but it's actually not just about one thing. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. I did a little bit of research because something about this story to me just seemed a little odd. So again, the theme of tonight's show is the class issue. All of these stories involve class. So this is the thread that went around on Twitter the other day. Dave Chappelle personally came to a city council meeting and threatened to remove his $65 million of investments from his city if they allowed a developer to move forward with an affordable housing program. The objection wasn't to the build, but the affordable housing component. Now, I'm going to play this video really quick first, and then I'm going to show you what I found after doing a little bit more research. So let me go down here. So this is a town meeting at Yellow Springs, Ohio. By the way, I had never heard of Yellow Springs, Ohio until this story came out. So I just am Googling because I was like, what is a Yellow Springs? But yeah, this is one of those town meetings and Dave Chappelle is here. I don't know if you guys know, but Dave Chappelle does live in a town in Ohio. And he decides to speak up at this meeting. So here we go.
Can I go? Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes.
Hi, I'm Dave Chappelle. I just want to say, and Marianne, I can talk to you about this privately. I don't know why the village council would be afraid of litigation from a $24 million a year company while they X out a $65 million a year company. I cannot believe you would make me audition for you. You look like clowns. I am not bluffing. I will take it all off the table. That's all. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So
I'm going to play this one more time.
No. Can you hear me?
yes. Yes.
Hi, I'm Dave Chappelle. I just want to say, and Marianne, I can talk to you about this privately. I don't know why the village council would be afraid of litigation from a $24 million a year company while they X out a $65 million a year company. I cannot believe you would make me audition for you. You look like clowns. I am not bluffing. I will take it all off the table. That's all. Thank you.
Okay.
Here's the problem. Most people saw that video and ran with it. Didn't look into the story. Didn't seek out any extra information. And it's easy to fall for it. I mean, honestly, when I first saw the video, my response was, I don't understand. I'm still muted. Am I still muted? Hold on. Okay, no, I'm not still muted. So when I first saw it, the first thing I said was, why would Dave Chappelle be against an affordable housing project? Dave Chappelle grew up poor. He knows what it's like to be poor. Why would he be against that? So that was the question that I had. And that's why I decided to dig a little bit deeper. Unfortunately, by the time I found the information that I was looking for, people had already ran with this story. It's all over Twitter. And now I feel like I'm a little bit late coming out with this extra information. And now people are just like, they're not going to want to hear that the reason for this. Like people, or they're not going to believe it because certain people took the story and ran with it immediately before doing more research. So I want to show you something that I found. I was curious about Yellow Springs, Ohio, because like I said, I've never heard of this place. So I wanted to see what type of town this was. So I did a little check here. I wanted to see what was the average income in Yellow Springs, Ohio. So let me share my screen. And this is when I knew something wasn't right. So here we go. So the average income in Yellow Springs, Ohio, it says it's a village in Ohio. Now, this was 2019. That was the latest I could find. $33,071. Though I thought to myself, well, that's odd. That's not a high income. So if that's the average income of people living in Yellow Springs, and also keep in mind that Dave Chappelle lives there too, right? So Dave Chappelle's a millionaire. So that probably increased this amount even more. Just saying. Why would people in a town that has an average income of $33,000 roughly not want an affordable housing building in their village? That just didn't seem right. So then I decided to do a little bit more digging. By the way, hit that like button, guys. That really helps me with the algorithm. And I said, let me wait and see if more information comes out before I talk about this story. Some people didn't do that. Some people ran with this, and now it is a mess. And so I did. I waited, and Dave Chappelle did respond. So let me go ahead and share what he had to say about this project and why he said what he said. I'm going to make this a little bit larger. There's multiple articles on this, by the way. All right. Dave Chappelle, who became the target of criticism this week after speaking against... what happened here? Okay. Dave Chappelle, after becoming the target of criticism this week after speaking against the development in Yellow Springs, said in a statement that the plan was not the right fit for the village. Dave Chappelle didn't kill affordable housing. Concerned residents and a responding village council killed a half-baked plan which never actually offered affordable housing. I'm going to say that again. They killed a half-baked plan which never actually offered affordable housing. Now that's coming from Carla Sims, who's a spokesperson for Chappelle. Chappelle was among several residents who spoke against the project at a council meeting Monday. The comedian, who announced last year that he was buying a former fire station in Yellow Springs with plans to turn it into a comedy club, said he would back out if the project was allowed. I'm not bluffing. I will take it all off the table. The council sided with Chappelle and other residents opposing the project, which would have been expanded to include duplexes, townhomes, and less than 2 acres for future affordable housing. Instead, the project will now go forward with just single-family homes. Chappelle lives with his family outside the village and has ties that go back to when his father graduated from Antioch College in Yellow Springs and later was a professor there. Neither Dave nor his neighbors are against affordable housing. However, they are against the poorly vetted cookie cutter sprawl type development deal, which has little regard for the community, culture, and infrastructure of the village. Let me come out. Now, hopefully, that adds a little bit more context to that story. You see why it's not good just to take a clip and run with it? You see what I mean? Where Pilgrim said he didn't grow up poor, that's true, more middle class. I think he had two different sets, because I know at one point he said he grew up in DC. I think he might have been poor when he lived in DC and then he moved. I forget. I have to go back and look, but that was really interesting to find out. Now there's something else that I do want to show you, because I said again, like when you just run with stories, let me share my screen. Okay, now watch this. This is the same tweet that went out with that video. Most people stopped right here and they didn't read the thread. So they shared this part of the story, which includes the video, but they didn't share this part. Let me scroll down. I dug into it just to make certain, but the developer was explicitly putting land aside for affordable housing without even plans for it yet. See, most people didn't tweet this part. 140 house plan in Yellow Springs takes another step forward. That's the news article. They go down and they say the specific issue was zoning for high density housing. The problem is Yellow Springs is a well-off suburb of Dayton, and no one wants an excess of cheaper housing supply nearby purely on property values alone. Now, even this isn't 100% true, because I just showed you what the average income was. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, the specific issue was zoning for high density housing. The problem is Yellow Springs is a well-off suburb. But I just showed you the average income, you guys. So this is why you can't just take a story off Twitter and just run with it. This is why it's good to do more research. Scrolling down, they said the cynical part of me would assume the land itself was never going to be developed, but remained zoned for denser living to increase resale value or to be turned into a bougie park later on. But even the possibility it would have been used appropriately is worth trying. Again, there's no source. There's no source to an article. So then they came down here and they said, this is already blowing up. I'm muting it. You see what happened? So then I decided to see, now this part, this didn't make any sense to me. Listen to this, you guys. The proposal the council voted on Monday night would have included 64 single-family homes, 52 duplexes, and 24 townhomes with an additional 1.75 acres to be donated to the community for affordable housing to be built later, according to Dayton Daily News. After the council deadlocked on the proposal, the zoning allegedly reverted to what was previously approved. 143 single-family homes on the lot, with homes starting at about $300,000. Now, I am no rocket scientist here. I'm not the best with math. It was never my favorite subject. But does $300,000 sound like affordable housing to you? In Ohio? A $300,000 home. That doesn't sound like affordable housing to me. In Ohio. I know people that live in Ohio that didn't pay anywhere near that for their homes. And they don't live in affordable housing. $300,000. So it sounds like to me, based on what I've gathered, Lateef said, man, hell no. No, that doesn't sound like affordable housing. What if that's affordable? What are the prices of the other houses that are not a part of affordable housing? I'm so sorry. Craig said 300K isn't affordable if 30K is the median income. Thank you. So it sounds like to me that this plan it sounds sketchy. It sounds sketch. It didn't seem like they really had it all together. So anyway, like I said, people took this first part of this thread and they just ran with that video. And Dave Chappelle has responded and said he's not opposed to affordable housing. It was something about this particular project that was not okay, that was not kosher. $300,000 for affordable housing? No. I'm going to go to this comment here. Elvin Brown says it was for gentrification. Bingo. As soon as I heard cookie cutter houses, I was like, oh, that sounds like gentrification. So if that was the case, now I see why they said no. Look, people got to stand up and fight back and push back against having their neighborhoods be like gentrified. And luckily they had the voices there and the numbers there to do it. But I don't know about you guys, but I'm tired of seeing these cookie cutter condo buildings. They all look the same. These box units just sprouting up everywhere. Like I said, pretty soon, 10, 15 years from now, all these cities are going to look the same. The character and the culture is gone. So there you go. So hopefully everyone learns a lesson from this, from just running with these little clips. Told you, when you see these little clips, there's usually something else that goes along with it that has been removed, right? So it's always good to go back and try to see if you can find that extra information. So hopefully people learn something from this, from just taking a clip on Twitter and being like, this is what happened. So yeah, like I said, I thought there was something off about this story.